Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today let's look back at something that I talked about an absolute ton back when Zelda's anniversary was first coming up back in February. Of course, since Mario got a 35th anniversary bundle, it has long been speculated that we might even see a much similar bundle to that in the form of a Zelda 35th anniversary bundle. Sorry, too many bundles. And I talked about it extensively through a good 2 or 3 videos. For example, which games I think would be in it, which games I'd like to be in it, and ultimately if I could see it happening for the anniversary. But alas, the anniversary flew by without even a trace of even the smallest piece of 35th anniversary news. I mean, seriously, not even a tweet or like a video or something. Literally nothing to celebrate one of Nintendo's crowning achievements in gaming. And while some people did and still do think that Nintendo was just being ignorant to the series after celebrating Mario and Fire Emblem extremely recently, and while I didn't really say much at the time, save for a few little tweets of my own, I think that this just means that they're gearing up for a big anniversary year, and what better time to announce such a thing than at E3. A place where gamers watch to see what their favourite companies, and maybe even a couple of new companies in their eyes, are up to. There's absolutely no better time to announce a collection of 2 or 3 remastered games in one collection, in one of their best series both selling and gameplay wise, than at E3 2021. So today I'd like to talk about the likelihood of the actual collection, a quick touch on which games I'd like to see in the collection, and finally my thoughts on if we're going to get a Zelda 35th anniversary bundle of games at all. So let's get into it. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're only a few subs away from 1,500, so every little helps. Thank you. Let's go. First off, let's start off with which games I could see being in this bundle. I've always said this, and even if the collection doesn't happen, or even if it does and it's just a different bunch of games, then I will always uphold that I think simply porting Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD would have been the safe and easy option. Personally, I would really like Twilight Princess to make the jump, and I'd like Ocarina of Time to have a full remake, but I think it just would be way too easy for Nintendo to sell Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD in a bundle. And if this is the case, then it'll pose quite a large problem for the Zelda game that we know is coming out for sure this year, Skyward Sword HD. The game has been riddled with controversy. Some think it's a lazy port, some are on the opposite fence of this and defend it. Some don't really care about the amiibo figure and what it does. Others think that it's a poor business practice by the highest degree. But out of all of this, one thing is true. Man, this is probably going to hit the sales of this game a little bit. And I completely get it. I mean, if you're of the opinion that it's a lazy port, then I get why you might not want to get the game. And to be honest, it's a shame that this is happening to the most polarizing entry in the series in recent time. I mean, this is making a polarizing game 10 times more polarizing. But either way, we've strayed quite off topic. It just quickly seemed like the right time to talk about Skyward Sword HD since I won't again before E3. But overall, I would personally expect for the collection to be a bundle of Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. And I do think that it'll be both of them together for the price of one Skyward Sword HD. And I also think a lot of people would rather miss out on Skyward Sword and just get the other two instead, but who knows. However, I will say that this does spark the debate of if there will even be a collection in the first place, and honestly there are quite a few valid reasons for and against Nintendo making other collections of Zelda games on top of Skyward Sword HD, and having the audacity to sell it at there or around the same price as Skyward Sword. Especially if they do it in the same year, it seems kind of preposterous, and to be honest I may have to agree. At least with the sentiment they wouldn't sell 2 games inside one game at the same prices anyway. So that's why I think they could maybe raise the price, so instead of $60, I think the collection of 2 games may go together for $90, since they would literally be ported from the system previous to the Switch, and I think even Nintendo would have morals at that point. $60 for each of them would seriously be too much. They wouldn't have to do anything for them either. Overall though, yes, I do think they'll still do a collection. I'm not sure whether they'll raise the price or not to adhere to Skyward Sword's price, but porting over the 2 HD games would just be so ridiculously easy, and people are actually asking for them. And they're almost the only first-party Wii U games that are actually left sat on that system. It'd be a bit harder to redo the dual screen controls of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD, but I do think that it'll happen. And if it does happen, then I also think it'll be released at the end of the year. But all of this begs the question. If it's a real thing, then will it be at E3 this year? In less than a month's time? Let's answer the question in the title. Well, actually, first off, we should talk about the likelihood of the bundle being at E3 a little bit, before I just go ahead and throw out my answer. Well, let's look back a little bit at recent events, because even the fact that they've missed out a tweet wishing the series a happy birthday, and along with the fact that they haven't been marketing Skyward Sword for HD as the 35th anniversary celebratory title for the year, tells me that the festivities for the series are only just about to begin. You see, the issue with Zelda's anniversary being in February was at that particular time, Mario was undergoing his own anniversary. From the months of September through March, everything was Mario themed. I mean, even the Nintendo eShop was Mario themed, and while it is sad that most of these items were limited edition and were stripped away from stores on March 31st, past that point it felt like anything could happen. To be honest, I'm still pretty sad that in the week of Zelda's anniversary we were given a Nintendo Direct, and there wasn't a sight of acknowledgement that the birthday of the series was even coming up. Though after some thinking, I've come to realise that E3 straight up is the place to just do their thing. I mean, what do Nintendo have for the rest of this year first party wise? Well, right now we know of Miitopia that's just come out. We know of Mario Golf in June, Skyward Sword HD in July, Age of Calamity DLC. Of course, there's a couple of games I've missed out, like No More Heroes 3 in August, but the only other big game we know of that's coming this year for sure are the Pokemon Generation 4 remakes, sometime in the fourth quarter probably. And this lineup makes me all the more excited for E3's direct presentation, and more importantly, what could happen to the Zelda series in that time. Zelda-wise we know of Skyward Sword and Age of Calamity DLC, which is already a lot by normal standards, but if Mario is getting a big 35th anniversary, then at least at the minute sales-wise, Link and his cast of champions in the last mainline Zelda are beating out Cappy and Mario in this last mainline game. It just seems right that the Zelda series would get similar treatment at this point, or perhaps not as grand, but at least some sort of communication that something is for the anniversary, because despite it being the anniversary year, no one at Nintendo has even commented on it. I personally just think all of this lines up with the fact that we could get one of the biggest years for Zelda in recent time. I mean, imagine if at E3 this year we got a sneak peek at Age of Calamity DLC, some sort of good new content for Skyward Sword, a look at Breath of the Wild 2, and even a 35th anniversary collection. And honestly, on any given year, I would say no, it seems quite impossible. And I'm sure some of you out there are currently shaking your heads at the screen, inaudibly mumbling that this is completely impossible. And while I'd like to agree with you, it just seems like the right time. And honestly, if they did port over Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, the Switch would possibly transform into my favourite Nintendo system ever. There is of course one more spanner in the works however. What if the bundle and some other products are limited time, as we've seen with both Mario and Fire Emblem's anniversary celebrations? Well, I honestly couldn't tell you. Perhaps the backlash of the latter games mentioned would deter Nintendo from doing such a similar thing again. But then again, the games definitely did sell well. The point is that I don't understand all of Nintendo's business decisions, so I really can't give you a definite answer. But we can at least hope that this bundle won't be locked between certain months in the year. Overall though, I really do think that the collection, if it is real, will be at E3 2021. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, then please do like the video and subscribe, as we're on the way to 1,500 subscribers. The people that you can see on screen right now are amazing, just as cool as you watching the video, and Sumji is particularly cool, as he's my top paying patron. If you'd like to join these names on screen, then you can do by checking the link to my Patreon in the description and pledging just £1 or $1.50 a month, or even more if you're feeling mighty generous. Along with that link is the link to my other media platforms, so follow me on them if you'd like to keep up with me myself. I'm sorry for the shorter videos, I'm just about to enter my last week of education and I'm also taking my driving test this Friday coming, but after that I can promise you that you'll see some longer videos again. For the last time though, I thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Please do stay safe.